Chapter 99. Your clothes are not bad. Song Shi was fine from the fall. He was just grimacing in pain. He stood up with his face covered in dirt and dust. He held the back of his head and said, "It's not safe to ride a sword. It's easy to make my family cry. 1. Fortunately, his body was strong. Otherwise, he would have fallen to his death from such a high height. What are you looking at? Have you never seen an immortal cultivator make a mistake while riding a sword?" He suddenly turned his head and glared at the bushes. An old farmer who was cutting trees in the mountains was squatting there and peeking curiously. "I'm ignorant. Please forgive me, immortal." The old farmer was so frightened that he threw away his chopper and knelt on the ground to beg for mercy. "There's nothing to forgive. This broken tree is for you." Song Shi waved his hand and left awkwardly. As an immortal cultivator, he had actually made a fool of himself in front of the mortals. It was really damaging to his image. Fortunately, there were not many people around. After he left, the old farmer left in a panic. After going down the mountain, he told everyone he met, "Guess what I saw today?" An immortal, however, this immortal is not. He actually fell from the sky. "Is that true? I heard that immortals have been appearing frequently recently. It's possible that we might encounter them, but not from falling like that, right?" "Why would I lie to you? There are trees broken by the immortal in the back mountain now, and there's a huge pit where he landed. Let's go. Bring me there to take a look." There were many cultivators in this world, but it was still rare for ordinary people to encounter them, let alone on such a remote mountain village. Not long after, a group of people formed a party up the mountain to look at the traces of immortals. There's really a big hole. Heavens, to be able to break such a thick tree, has indeed an immortal. This immortal must have bronze skin and iron bones, since he fell down unscathed. Why would an immortal fall? He should have been testing the mortals. It's a pity that I didn't seize the opportunity. Otherwise, I might have obtained an opportunity at being an immortal. A group of people discussed animatedly. For a mountain village that had no information from the outside world and will probably remain unchanged for hundreds of years, this kind of rare opportunity could be said to only come every 100 years. Sadly, you didn't obtain an immortal opportunity. Why don't we build a temple here? Then we might be able to obtain the protection of an immortal and help everyone in our village to lead a good life. Someone felt sorry for the old farmer and made a suggestion. "That's right. These are traces of immortals. Other villages don't have them. We have to pay our respects here more often." Immediately, a group of people agreed. "I might as well change the name of this place to Fallen Immortal Mountain. It doesn't sound good. It should be called the place where immortals descend. Immortal Descension Mountain sounds nice. From now on, the temple will be called Immortal Descension Temple. Everyone, come and offer incense on the 1st and 15th day of the new year." "Old man, what did the immortal look like?" "Tell the carver, well, gather money to build a temple." If Song Shi knew that his embarrassing incident had been treated as an immortal descension event, and that someone would build a temple for him, he would probably fall again from embarrassment. At this moment, after experiencing a mistake, Song Shi learned his lesson and became much more cautious when flying on his sword. Not only did he stand steadily on the flying sword, but he also slowly began to enjoy the joy of flying. The strong wind that he encountered when flying was blocked by the energy barrier emitted by Song Shi's diamond Dharma body. Only a breeze formed by the different internal and external air pressure circulated around his body. This caused his hair to flutter slightly. His clothes out. At this moment, his clothes were essentially paper clothes that lacked elegance and otherworldliness. He looked down at the small flying sword under his feet and muttered, "This is the car of the cultivation world. Oh wait, it should be a plane. Ordinary people can't afford to use this." The quality of Chen Niling and Wuxia's flying swords was much better than his. He couldn't help but think of the different cars in his previous life. Just like how he wanted a good car in his previous life, he also wanted a good flying sword now. Indeed, human nature does not change. Overall, the life of cultivation was not as comfortable as the life of being a profligate son from before. At the very least, he had to rack his brains on how to obtain various resources, which he did not have to consider in the past. Unfortunately, the Song family was almost destroyed and the world has become chaotic. He could no longer be a profligate son. With nostalgia for his old life and melancholy for his new life, Songshi returned to Silken City. When he was still a few kilometers away from the city gate, he saw many people leaving on carriages and horses. "Father, will the rebels really attack? Regardless of whether they attack or not, this place is no longer peaceful. The plague and those insects alone have made people panic. It's better to leave as soon as possible and move to Jinzhou in the north." When Songshi heard the conversation between the father and son in the carriage, he took another look at the pedestrians on the road. Most of them were from wealthy families. Were they prepared to flee after hearing the news? After all, rich people had more choices than ordinary people, who knew how many people had already escaped. A luxurious carriage drove past. The curtain was pushed aside by a hand, revealing a mocking gaze. "Oh, isn't this old song? Why, you can't even afford to wear clothes now. Why are you using paper to make clothes?" Upon hearing this, Songshi lowered his head to take a look. For some reason, the power of the origami had dissipated, revealing its original appearance. Clothes that were cut from a piece of yellow paper. Songshi looked at the young man in the carriage. It was the ninth brother of the Lin family, who was once on the same level as the Song family in Silken City. They often met in the brothel and could be considered acquaintances. However, this person had a vicious personality. He liked to abuse animals and even humans. He had once trampled other people's puppies to death on the streets. He had also deliberately bought a person who sold his body to bury his father and brought him back to beat him up only. His personality was quite bad, so Songshi did not interact much with him. "I pity you. Are you interested in becoming my slave? I'll reward you with a meal." Young Master Lin sized up Songshi teasingly with a perverted look in his eyes. "Your clothes are not bad." Songshi ignored young Master Lin's condescending gaze and grinned as he looked at the long robe, made of silk. In the next second, boom, bang, 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 the carriage shattered. Young Master Lin rolled his eyes and fainted on the ground. His coat disappeared, and the clothes he had brought with him were nowhere to be seen. The other guards were dumbfounded as they watched the scene in front of them. Before they could react, the carriage shattered and their young master fell to the ground. This frightened them so much that they did not dare to make a move. "Thanks for the clothes," Songshi said, indifferently. In a blink of an eye, he disappeared into the distance. Ninth young master, the guards returned to their senses and hurriedly went to check on their master. Then, they heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he was not dead, otherwise, they would be in trouble. They might be abandoned by the main family and would not be able to go to Jinzhou. "Come on, punch me, pretend we fought." The guards prepared to fool young Master Lin. Songshi appeared at the city gate. The city gate was still closed, but he saw a small door open at the side. From time to time, carriages would come out, and some of them handed money to the city guards. Money talked could naturally make things easier for the city guards. When he walked over, he was stopped by a soldier. "During the war, you can't come and go as you please." "How much?" Songshi understood. "It's cheaper to go in than to come out. To go in is only 100 bucks. I'll give you 10 taels. Treat your brothers to a drink." Songshi took out a silver ingot and threw it to the sergeant guarding the door. "Young master, you're smart. In the future, no one will stop you when you enter or exit the southern city gate." The sergeant smiled, then got someone to open the checkpoint for Songshi to enter. "Brother Long, you've just arrived. You probably don't know who he is. This is a young master of the Song family who's still alive." Seeing Songshi leave, the people who knew him smiled. The Song family that was almost wiped out. The leader of the guards was surprised. "That's right, but I have to say that a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Even though the Song family has declined, they're still so generous. You don't understand, do you? He has a brother who's an official. Didn't he leave with old Master Son and the two ladies yesterday? I wasn't guarding the door yesterday. How would I know? But if the Song family has left, why is he back?